Yes, greetings, my brothers and sisters. Once again, welcome to another edition of the Crispy Emotep show. Don't forget to subscribe to all of our YouTube videos and to our channel. Press the like button on our videos. Please share them, and please, leave your comments down below. Click the red button where it says subscribe. At the end of the video, you'll see another link. Well, it's not a direct link, but it's what you must do when you come and watch our shows. Now we've got to 50 subscribers already. Really, we should be at about a few hundred by now. So we're counting on you, brothers and sisters out there, to really subscribe to our channel, because we've got informative material, informative content coming your way as much as we can. We're trying to post at least once a day, and so we're here for you. We're catering for you. I hope you're all alright out there. And as we spoke about, I think it was yesterday, about the incident involving George Floyd in America, in Minnesota, when you should know by now, when he got killed by a police officer after being kneeled on his neck, and there for 10 minutes saying, "I can't breathe, you're squeezing my neck, you're hurting my neck, everything hurts, I can't breathe." And he just passed away. Lack of oxygen to the brain, I suppose, and of course the blood flow stopped. And when they put him on a stretcher and in the ambulance to take him to the hospital, he was already pronounced dead. But he had died. We all believe he had died while he was on the floor there, being kneeled on by that racist pig of a cop. And so he was charged, and all the other police officers have been charged. The other 3 have all been charged, and of course the one who killed him, who kneeled in him, who killed him, has been charged with murder. And so some people are saying that he won't get the full 25-year plus life sentence that he so thoroughly deserved. For me, I would say that he deserves to actually be given life imprisonment, and he should actually die. He should actually be made to die in prison. In years gone by, he would have been given the electric chair. Mind you, there you go, because this has never really been a fair world, especially when it comes to black people, being given justice. Whenever one of theirs kills one of ours, murders one of ours, and nothing gets done, they get let off scot-free. It's the same here in the UK. I remember many years ago of the Stephen Lawrence inquiry, and Doreen Lawrence, Stephen's mother, and Neville Lawrence, Stephen's father, fought tooth and nail and strenuously. It took them years before the justice was served, and so that kind of changed the justice system here in England, and made the courts of law look firmly into racial murders in police custody. But it's still a long fight. It's still a long fight, and it is black people, and anything you want, we've got to fight tooth and nail. We've got to fight longer and harder than the other races, who don't really seem to have to fight that much. But then again, they've got their own backs. We don't have our own backs. We're the only communities around the world who don't really have that infrastructure of protection, and so that has to change. And so I'm here to say also about going back to Africa. I done a post yesterday about this. I shared it all around Instagram, and it was well received. Thank you so much for those of you out there who liked our video about going back to Africa and made your comments. And it's a serious thing, because it's no joke. And I made a comment in the video that since I've been on social media the last 15 or so years, 10 years, especially on Facebook, a lot of our brothers and sisters have been asking me to come back there. They want me there. And it's not just me, it's others as well, as other blacks in the diaspora who are wanted out in Africa to because our contribution and our talents are much needed out there. And it's the motherland, it's where we're from, it's where our ancestors, our foreparents are from. So why would we want to go back? It does, it makes perfect sense for us to want to go back. And for, of course, our brothers and sisters upon the motherland, as I said, it doesn't matter if it's Kenya, Nigeria, Ghana, Congo, Ivory Coast. It doesn't matter where it is, Ethiopia. Yeah, they want us back, and so it's an invitation that we can't keep ignoring. We've got to we've got to grab the opportunity with both hands, with this hand, with this hand, with this hand, and with this hand. So grabbing the opportunity with both hands, and then taking it It is ours, because it's becoming very hostile for a very long time now. And police tensions along the police and black community tensions have escalated over the last 40 years. I remember when I was young, my grandfather used to get stopped in his car by the police. "Where's your license, sir? Where's your license?" And any little small thing, they used to call it the sus law. Any small thing, they'll pull you over and would ask you for your details and would monitor you. But the good thing is my grandfather was always law-abiding, so he never really got into much trouble. But I remember when I was a youngster, he was always occasionally being stopped and pulled over by the police and so on. He drove a nice car. It was a Cortina in the 80s. In the early 80s, it was a very popular car. But his car was bright blue, and it was it looked, even though it was at the time, it was maybe 3 or 4 years old, he always kept it washed, he always kept it cleaned, it was always smelling nice. And so I believe they assume that when you're black, you should be driving such a nice car, or such a nice looking car, or such a well kept car. And as I said yesterday also, that you could just be walking down the road, you're black, you could just be looked at and be stopped over, or be teased, or just be even shot for no reason, because you look like a suspect, or you look like somebody who's done something, some misdemeanor. So they assume that, oh, it's you, or you're connected to it, so that they shoot you, or they impose their brutality forces upon you, as you saw of George Allen, where he was asking to be. He said, "I can't breathe. You're squeezing my neck," and it's something that. I mean, ever since the incident a few days ago, I can't get it out of my mind. When I go to bed, I think about it. I think about it the day. I spoke to friends about it. I've read other people's feeds on social media. Some celebrities have spoken about it in a big way. P. Diddy spoke about it, Snoop Dogg spoke about it, and some others who are prominent in the black world have spoken about it. And the interesting thing is, I've looked at some of the right celebrities. They've hardly spoken about it. They've not mentioned it one single bit. I remember looking at David Beckham's Twitter, Instagram feed. Nothing, no mention of it whatsoever. And so, I'm not saying that they don't feel it, but it goes to show you that we're on our own. We're going to fight our own battles ourselves. And so that's why I say we've got to come together in solidarity. We want justice. We want justice for George Floyd, and we're going to get justice for George Floyd. But also we should start looking at moving out and going to the motherland, even if it's just to visit it once in a while and come back visit. But we're going to have we have to have links there, because the day is going to come where they're imposing laws about visas and passports and so on. If your passport's not up to date, then you could be immensely fined. And so you could be deported back to your parents' place of birth, like what's happening over here with the Windrush generation. There's some people who've been over here since they were like 4 or 5 years of age, because their parents came over as menial workers as part of the Windrush generation. I'm talking here in Britain, England. And so some of them came over when they were very young, and they never had there was no need in those days, because they were British subjects coming from the colony of Britain, which is various countries in the Caribbean. So as a children, they came with their parents, and the passport wasn't really an issue at that time. And so now, 50 or so years later, they're being sent back. And even some of the Russians who came here to build England are being sent back. And so these people could change the laws. As I said to you when I done that post a few weeks ago about the game, it's a game they play, and if you don't know how to play the game, then you're gonna lose out. And they change the goalposts to suit their narratives every single time. And so you've got to make sure you're prepared, you're ready, and you're ahead of the game by always having yourselves prepared and always thinking, trying to outthink them. And that's why this is where Africa's key, because if you don't have Africa in your mind, if you're not trading with Africa, if you're not going out to Africa, I'm not saying that everyone's going to go, it costs money to go to Africa, we know that, but you should have some type of links there. Even if you only have one friend there you contact on a now and again basis, it's very important. But I believe every black person in the diaspora in the West should have some sort of ties with Africa. They should, or even with the Caribbean as a secondary alternative, because a lot of our parents and families come from the Caribbean, but we all come from Africa, because Africa's a mother. That's why they call it the motherland. And so I hope what I'm saying is making sense. I'm going to have a shower. I'm going to do some cooking as well. And I said I must come up here and speak to my brothers and sisters, because I love you very much, and I want to try and keep you focused, keep you going.
and it's not easy because we're up against a lot of things right now. We are up against COVID-19. Do you remember when COVID-19 first came on the scene a few months ago? It was starting in China, then it escalated to Italy and Spain, then the UK. Now they're saying that the most susceptible race of people to this COVID-19 is black people. And so we always get caught up in the middle of it somehow because we've got no allies. That's what Marcus Garvey meant when he said many years ago, when he said that when he went to the Americas, when he saw black people's being tortured there and being treated like fifth-class citizens. We said, where's the black man's army? And that's when he went and formed the UNIA and said, we need a black man's army, we need a black man's establishment. Say black man, really meant black people. But it's just a term, and he said black man. He means black man and black women as well. And that's when he went to set up the UNIA, and then you see the results. And for me, the UNIA is still gone, but his son and some of the people in the UNIA right now, they've not really championed Marcus Garvey's initiative in this day and age, because some people don't know that it's there, but it's there. So for this incident with George Allen, where are the UNIA? Who are they? I don't see them. We don't see them. And so the structure, we've got to restructure ourselves, and the only way we're going to do that is if we come together, unify, and start looking to Africa. And all these other races are coming there, the puppet leaders in Africa. Some of them are now waking up now, to be fair, but the puppet leaders in Africa have allowed these other races to come there and to dictate terms and to, take up residency there. And we've got to find a way for them to be ushered out. And I think it should only really be open for us, because we haven't got no home, because England isn't our home, America isn't our home, and Europe isn't our home, only Africa is our home, China isn't our home. So we've got to find a way to get back there somehow, and to go there and to build and to set up our own economy. I personally don't know if this generation is going to be able to pull it off, because we're up against so many things right now. But hopefully in a few years' time, when things are more relaxed and society is a lot more calmer, then I think quite possibly the younger generations could see an opportunity out there. It could start to build, to rebuild, and to undo what you have to say it's been 700 years of injustice, 700 years of enslavement, of oppression, of colonization, of dictatorship towards black people and all peoples of African origin. And I think only then could we start to slowly see us coming back up the ladder again. Because we were on top of the world once. We were number one in the world once. We led the way in civilization. You can see the pyramids in Egypt, in Kemet, which I speak about a lot. All those buildings, all those monuments we built in all over Africa. If you go to the museums in Luxor, Alexandria in Egypt, in Kemet, which I've done, you'll see what our people. There's a lot of things that our people have done, our ancestors have done, which haven't been brought to public light. And so it's important for us, our children, to know these things. For even us, we're adults, who some of us are still just being awakened, are still not quite fully awake yet, not using our third eye. For us to know these things, it's vitally essential. So I hope what I said to you today has made a lot of sense to you. I know I've gone through a few things. We spoke about George Allen and about us uniting and some other bits and pieces. I think you can get what I mean and get the gist of what I'm saying. And hopefully tomorrow, brothers and sisters, we're going to come back again and speak to you some more, reason with you some more. And don't worry, I'm going to be back on the music history pieces again. At the moment, things are not 100% right. We have to address them with our people. We're going to speak about the current events and current debates and current goings-ons in the world today, and so that's why we have to bring that to you now. But when things settle down a bit, we'll come out with the teachings, some of Marcus Garvey teachings as we gave to you before when we started the channel, some musical teachings as well. We're going to do a post, we promised you, we're going to do a post about the influence of black music around the world. And we're going to do some other chematology pieces which we've done some time ago, and I know some of you want to know more about it. We've also got some things about the Rastafari movement as well, and about the history of Rastafari. So those things are coming up in the not too distant future. But for now, we give you this. We say that thank God that those police officers have been charged. And as you can see, as you've seen in the news, the city of Minnesota is burning because of the protest for George Allen, justice for George Allen, with those fists and those banners of "I can't breathe" or "Justice for George Allen" on them. And I've shared them on on my Instagram page. You can check out my Instagram, Crispy Emotip 444. That's the number 4. So Crispy Emotip, all one word, Crispy Emotip 444 on Instagram. You can also check me out on Facebook, which is Chrissy B Bailey. So Chrissy B Bailey, check me out on Facebook. I don't really use Twitter much, so don't really worry about the Twitter. And of course on there, subscribe again, as I said many times, to Crispy Emotip. You see the link, well not the link, but you see the notice at the end of the video here, where you see my name, how it's spelled, and what to do to subscribe. And it's pretty straightforward. So brothers and sisters, that I love you and leave you now. You take care of yourselves and take care of each other in this time, and check on those ones who are vulnerable and those ones who are lonely at this time. Love you all. Peace out. Blessed love.